Farhan, can you tell us how the personal statement should be structured and specifically what kind of facts should be included in it to kind of demonstrate that an applicant goes and meets the selection criteria that is imposed by the university?
See, every lawyer loves to say this, and the answer is it depends.
It depends.
There's, yeah, there's no set formula. It's your story. I mean, the word personal is everything in it.
Of
It's
course.
what.
And Farhan, just to interrupt, to that, we always say, based on your experience, what do you think is a good structure? What do you think are some good facts that should be included? We understand that a lot of these questions are very subjective. Yeah.
Mhm. See, I feel universities tend to give a lot of weightage to your uniqueness.
Yeah.
So, what you need to focus on is what makes you, right? It's a bit of a cliche answer, but I'll go through what I did with my personal statement. But I just want to give a disclaimer there. Don't focus on it because I had a specific experience and I focused on that. I focused on my own strengths, right? So even though I'll go into them, don't copy paste. That's the worst thing you can do, right? So when I wrote my personal statement, I mentioned it earlier, I went over it a few times, and the final draft was quite different. And the thing is, once I had written my personal statements, I reached out to a few friends who had gone to good universities and I said, show me your personal statement. And everyone, had a different thing going on. And I didn't copy either of those. I kept my own style. I perhaps changed a few things looking at what they had said and done, but it was really important to, stick to what makes you you. Now, for me, I kept a journal flow which focused on my experience. I linked this with why I want to do the LLM and what skills I gained from my work experiences which can help the LLM. And this
Right.
was the journal theme, sorry. And I'll tell you why. Now, I did not meet the academic requirements for the King's LLM, right? So they
Okay.
need a 65. I did not have a 65. I had a low 2-1. It was a 2-1, but it was, I think, around 61 or something like that. So I didn't talk much about my academics. I mean, you don't want to shoot yourself in the foot, right?
Of
So
course. Yeah.
my work experiences, I had founded an access to justice initiative in law school. That is something I focused on. I had worked in arbitration. I focused on that. And it really read like a story. And what I'll do is I'll just give me a second here. I'll just give an overview. So the first paragraph, what I did was I kept it an eye-catching paragraph. So I started out with I want to work in XYZ, and that's why I'm applying for the LLM. Then I focused on my biggest achievements. I mean, it had to be subtle. I subtly brought them in here and I linked it with why I want to do something in arbitration. And in the same first para, yeah, so I can see three things which I would rank as my best achievements. I put them all in there. And second paragraph, it was kind of like, I mean, historically it evolved. So I said how my interest in arbitration began, and I went through my work experiences, and each individual work experience was linked with what I gained out of it, which can help in the LLM, and why
Okay.
that made me want to do the LLM. This is very important. Don't just say I interned at XYZ. Doesn't matter. Say I interned at XYZ, I did XYZ there, and because of that, I want to do the LLM to improve my knowledge in this practice area, or something on this regard.
Yeah.
Maybe you
Understood.
worked on something which made you really curious about your particular subject. So that is something I focused on. If you've done any decent internships, mention them, but just keep something in mind. You're applying in England, they will not know what are the leading firms in your home jurisdiction.
Yeah.
So try to maybe add in, a leading firm, something like that, because they just don't know, right?
Yeah. Of
Don't
course.
assume that they'll know an XYZ big lawyer's name. And then I moved on. I dedicated a whole paragraph to my most recent work experience because I was actually working on an ICC arbitration in that. So I detailed a bit of that because the reason why I did it, it's important to understand the reason, is because I felt this was the most appropriate thing for an LLM right now. You're going for an LLM in arbitration, you have arbitration experience.
Yeah.
Similarly, if anyone is listening to this, what you need to do is whatever LLM you want to do, the best experience you have for this, milk it out as much as you can. Dedicate a paragraph to it, talk about that experience. Then I linked it. I said, This experience helped me appreciate the intricacies involved in dispute resolution. And then I linked it with, once again, like I've said, I want to do an LLM to improve my existing experience and understand the underlying legal theories. And I spoke about certain specific areas of law which I had done, and I said that I want to get further insight in these particular areas, so my ability to act on these matters can be improved. Then I came to my academic background, and it was a quick mention, right? Initially, I was considering writing, that I actually don't have a high 2-1 and blah, blah, blah. I
Yeah.
wanted to address that. But a few friends of mine said, they actually said, don't shoot yourself in the foot. So I eliminated that mention, and I just spoke that, I graduated from XYZ and I had went to the Hague Academy. So I mentioned that. And I just said, these are the things I got out of these experiences, which want me to, which make me want to do an LLM. And at the same time, what I did was I said my academic experiences will help me meet the challenging demands of an LLM. And
Yeah.
that was, once again, if you look at it, the general theme always has been why I want to do this and what I bring to the table, which will help me do this, right? Then, because I had written some publications, I dedicated a whole paragraph to that. I spoke about what I wrote, and there was some, for example, this one paper I wrote, it was featured as, the only private paper by a government organization. I mentioned that as an achievement. And then I mentioned my arbitration related articles. And again, I went back and said, this is why I want to do the arbitration LLM. And what I did was, because in UK you have to write a dissertation, this entire paragraph was basically saying I can maybe write a good dissertation because I already have legal writing experience.
Yeah.
So then I went on, and an entire paragraph was dedicated to the arbitration, right? So basically to the subject area you want to specialize in, I dedicated an entire paragraph. I said why I believe, this is a good area of law, how I see it in the future, and then I dropped a mention of what I would likely cover in my dissertation. Now, you don't need to stick with it. You can just think of something you really like in the area and say, I might want to explore this in my dissertation. It
Yeah.
shows to the university that you've actually put some thought into your application and you're not just applying for the sake of it. So then I think this is the most important paragraph for a personal statement. I wrote about the university and what I liked about it. So I wrote about certain professors I really liked in the university, and I said why I liked them. I linked it with that. And then I looked at the module list and I wrote like 4 5 modules, which I really liked and I wanted to do. Now, again, what this tells the university is that I've actually researched you, I've gone through your faculty profiles, I've gone through your module list. And believe me, it's not a very difficult job. If you're actually serious about your LLM and you're looking into your university on the basis of what I said in the first answer, then you'll already have this information. So you just add this in, and the university is really happy because I think you'll likely stand out. And yeah,
Yeah.
then I just concluded it and I said, why I want to do an LLM. And that's normally a very straightforward answer. You want to do an LLM either because you really like studying, or you want to improve your practice in the future, or you want to do a PhD. So I think that's a fairly straightforward thing you can add in towards the end. But so what I'll do is, overall speaking, remember these very important things: why you want to do an LLM, what you bring to the table, and what you can do with your LLM. Always link your experiences with these in the personal statement, and I think you'll do well. Now, one thing, Sanchit, which you asked was, I think it related to the selection criteria, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Now, my personal statement, I didn't really look into any selection criteria. The only publicized criteria is the academic results. I didn't touch upon them because, as I understand it, they have my academic transcripts. They can check my if I meet the criteria or not through that. In my personal statement, I kept it rather general and just tried to show, why I would make a good LLM candidate. So it was a very general thing I did.
Okay. Got it. Thank you, Farhan.